What if I told you that some of the most loyal, intelligent, and powerful dogs on Earth are also the most hunted? Not by predators, but by laws. Sounds crazy, right? But it's real. Across the globe, 5 dog breeds have been banned, restricted, or downright erased from communities, not because they're evil, but because people misunderstood their strength. It's easy to label something dangerous when you don't understand it. The truth? These breeds weren't born villains. They were built for purpose. And when that purpose meets ignorance, fear wins. But here's the thing no one tells you. Behind every ban, there's a story of loyalty, of history, of humans who failed their dogs long before the dogs failed anyone. In this video, you're not just going to learn which breeds have been outlawed. You're going to uncover why. You'll see what governments won't tell you, what media twists, and what owners wish they knew before the headlines. And by the end, you might realize that the real danger isn't the dog, it's what happens when power ends up in the wrong hands. So buckle up, because once you hear the truth about the Pit Bull Terrier, the Japanese Tosa, the Fila Brasileiro, the Dogo Argentino, and the Presa Canario, you'll never look at these breeds the same way again. Some dogs, just by walking into a room, command attention, and not always for the right reasons. Take the Pit Bull Terrier, for instance. This breed, often at the center of heated debates, is banned or restricted in places like the UK, Canada, and parts of Australia. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the dog, it's about the legacy, the fear, the stories passed from one mouth to another like folklore by a campfire. The Pit Bull Terrier, with its stocky frame, powerful jaw, and undeniable presence, is often misunderstood. People see the muscle, the intensity in the eyes, and assume danger. But stop and think, when was the last time you judged someone fairly just by looking at them? Exactly. It's like judging a book by its scars instead of its pages. Sure, there are cases, real ones, where pit bulls have been involved in aggressive incidents. That's part of why they've been banned in certain areas. But what people rarely talk about are the environments these dogs were in. Abuse, neglect, training geared toward aggression. Now imagine a child raised in that same environment. Wouldn't they act out too? It's not about excusing bad behavior, but about understanding root causes. Dogs, like people, are shaped. You'll see pit bulls trained for therapy, rescue missions, even police work in some regions. So if someone tells you pit bulls are inherently dangerous, ask them if they've ever met one trained with love, discipline, and purpose. It's funny how one shift in context can flip the script. And if you're a dog lover who wants to make a difference, maybe it's time to read The Lost Dogs by Jim Garant. True story, heartbreaking, and eye-opening. It shows what these so-called dangerous dogs become when someone finally gives a damn. The irony? The very same characteristics that made pit bulls feared, loyalty, strength, bravery, are what make them incredible companions when guided right. But the label sticks, doesn't it? Like a tattoo you never asked for. And that's where things start to mirror the next breed, which has been outlawed not just for perception, but because of what it was intentionally bred to do. Now, if the Pit Bull Terrier carries the weight of misjudgment, the Japanese Tosa walks with the gravity of history itself. This breed isn't just banned in the UK, Ireland, and New Zealand because of what it might do, it's banned because of what it was designed to do. Bred in Japan specifically for dogfighting, a sport that, believe it or not, still lingers in the shadows in some places, the Tosa is like a living relic of an era most would rather forget. Picture this. A dog that was selectively bred to fight in silence. No barking, no growling, just total lethal focus. It's chilling, right? And yet, when you meet one today in a stable, loving environment, it can be one of the calmest, most composed breeds you've ever seen. That's the paradox. Power under control. It's the equivalent of a retired samurai, capable, dangerous, but devoted to peace. People often ask, why would anyone want a Japanese Tosa as a pet? Fair question. But dig deeper and you'll see a community of enthusiasts around the world who respect the breed's strength while championing proper training, socialization, and responsible ownership. One example that comes to mind is a Japanese couple in rural Hokkaido who run a Tosa sanctuary. They raise these dogs with discipline, patience, and surprising gentleness, proving every day that nature and nurture go hand in hand. The takeaway? Power is not the enemy. Ignorance is. Owning a dog like the Tosa is not about ego or aesthetics. It's about understanding the responsibility of handling that much potential energy. And here's something to think about. In business, in life, in leadership, the quietest ones in the room are often the most powerful. That's the Tosa. But just when you think you've seen the pinnacle of misunderstood strength, wait until you hear about a breed that doesn't ask for your approval. It demands your respect. Meet the Fila Brasileiro, a dog whose loyalty runs so deep it can actually become the problem. Ah, the Fila Brasileiro. Now that's a dog that doesn't just walk into your life. It storms in, claims the territory, and watches every corner like a sentinel forged from loyalty and muscle. Known as the Brazilian Mastiff, the Fila isn't just banned in the UK and Norway by accident. Its reputation precedes it like a myth carved into stone. Fiercely loyal, intensely territorial, and fearless to a fault. But here's where most people get it twisted. What makes the Fila dangerous is exactly what makes it magnificent. This is a dog that bonds with its family so deeply, so completely, that it can see anyone else as a threat. And I mean anyone. Postman, intruder. Friend visiting for coffee? Intruder. Your cousin staying over for the weekend? You get the idea. Now, is that a flaw or a feature? Depends on what you value. In rural Brazil, the Fila Brasileiro has been used for centuries to guard livestock, property, and families. You don't teach it loyalty, it comes pre-installed. But here's the kicker. That level of devotion requires training, structure, and clarity of leadership. Think of the Fila like a loaded weapon. It's not meant to be flashy or loud, but you better know how to handle it. I once met a Fila owner in Minas Gerais who joked that his dog loved him more than his wife did, but wouldn't let the wife get within 2 feet of him after 9 p.m. Was he exaggerating? Maybe. Maybe not. The breed is powerful, proud, and profoundly connected to its people. If you're not one of them, don't even try. And for those who say, but dogs are supposed to be friendly, I say this. Some dogs were made to be guardians, not greeters. The Fila isn't trying to win anyone's approval. It's trying to protect what it loves. And in a world where loyalty is often just a slogan on a coffee mug, that kind of raw, unwavering commitment is rare. It's also why this breed gets banned, because most people aren't ready for that kind of intensity. But if the Fila demands respect, wait until you meet a dog that was bred not for defense but for the hunt. A breed outlawed in countries that couldn't handle its primal drive, the Dogo Argentino. Now picture this. A dog that looks like it walked straight out of a Roman gladiator arena, sculpted in white marble and charged with a purpose that pulses under its skin. That's the Dogo Argentino for you. It's not just a dog, it's a force. Banned in countries like the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, this breed wasn't designed to be your average household companion. No, sir. The Dogo was born for the hunt, originally bred in Argentina to take down wild boars and pumas. Read that again, pumas. That's not just bravery, that's almost mythological. You don't send a lapdog into the wilderness to chase apex predators. You send a Dogo Argentino. But here's where the paradox creeps in. Behind that muscular, intimidating exterior is a dog capable of deep affection, sensitivity, and even gentleness when it's guided properly. It's like handing someone the keys to a Ferrari and expecting them to know how to drive without ever learning manual. High performance requires high responsibility. Sadly, many countries didn't want to take that risk. A few high-profile attacks, combined with the Dogo's intimidating look and unstoppable prey drive, led to blanket bans. But let's not pretend all danger comes from the dog. Poor breeding, irresponsible ownership, lack of training. These are the ingredients for disaster, no matter the breed. What makes the Dogo unique is its relentless focus. It doesn't do maybe. If it's protecting, it's protecting. If it's hunting, it won't stop. And if it bonds with you, you'll have a partner more loyal than half your friends. One guy I met, a wildlife guide in Cordoba, told me his dogo once stood between him and a charging wild boar, took the hit and didn't flinch. That's not aggression, that's purpose. But purpose without control becomes chaos. That's the fine line with this breed. And if you think the dogo is intense, wait until you hear about a dog that once patrolled the volcanic plains of the Canary Islands, an animal so powerful, so imposing, it makes even seasoned handlers sweat. The Prisa Canario is not just a guard dog, it's a legacy of power etched in muscle and instinct. Now let's talk about the Prisa Canario, a breed that doesn't just arrive, it enters, like a warrior from a forgotten age. Native to the Canary Islands, this isn't your everyday household pet. This is the kind of dog that seems to carry ancestral echoes in its bones, built for guarding, protecting, and yes, confronting. It's been restricted or outright banned in several countries, and honestly, not without reason. This breed has a history marked by deadly attacks, but once again, context matters. Power without guidance is a problem. Imagine giving a 15-year-old the keys to a military tank and hoping they don't drive it through the neighbor's fence. That's how it goes with the Prisa Canario in the hands of the unprepared. This dog is all presence, thick neck, broad chest, a gaze that tells you it knows who's in the room and what they're about. But behind that stare is a calculating mind. Smart, strategic, instinctive. One breeder in Tenerife told me, "You don't own a Prisa, you earn its loyalty daily." And that stuck with me. It's a breed that doesn't give affection. You win it. Now, here's the twist. Under the right leadership, with clear rules and strong training, a Presa Canario can be a remarkably stable, even affectionate companion. There are families who raise them with children, use them to guard property, and integrate them into daily life like any other breed, but they respect the dog's essence. You don't train a Presa like a golden retriever. You train it like a samurai, disciplined, respectful, direct. If you're not confident in yourself, the Presa will know. And once it knows, it won't listen. That's why so many countries fear this breed. It doesn't forgive poor leadership. You need to be clear, firm, and emotionally balanced. And for those who do rise to that level of responsibility, they gain not just a dog, but a protector that would face fire for them. Still, in a world where headlines write the story, one bad incident can outweigh 1,000 peaceful days. The bans came, the restrictions followed, and the myth of the killer dog was born. But now that we've walked through the misunderstood worlds of these 5 outlawed breeds, it's time to ask a bigger, bolder question. So now that you know the truth, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep repeating the same myths, fearing what you don't understand? Or are you going to question the narrative and think for yourself? Because knowledge is only powerful if you use it. These breeds, Pit Bull Terrier, Japanese Tosa, Fila Brasilero, Dogo Argentino, Presa Canario, they weren't banned because they're monsters. They were banned because people failed to take responsibility. Let me ask you something. If society can misjudge dogs this badly, how often do we do the same with people? Now's the time to reflect, to challenge what you thought was true, to dig deeper before jumping to conclusions. And if this content made you think even for a second, then you're exactly the kind of person who should be sticking around. So tell me in the comments, which breed surprised you the most? Which one would you actually trust in your home if raised right? And hey, if you want more truth, more depth, and more eye-opening content like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got a lot more to explore, and this was just the beginning.